Yes, guys. So, welcome to, as currently stands, as the No Name podcast. What we want to do in these first few episodes is just give you an introduction of, who the hosts are, what's their background is, so you guys just have an insight on, who we are, what we've done, and just everything about us. So, we're going to start with Deej, and I'm going to dive straight in. Obviously, WNBF pro, natural bodybuilder. What got you into natural bodybuilding, mate? Where did the journey start?
So basically when I was a kid, I was always active. So I played rugby, football, any sort of sport that involved a ball. Like that's what I did. I was the only kind of sporty kid in my family. Um, so all the way through like college and uni, like I played rugby. So I played up to like a semi-pro level with rugby with a club called Waterloo RUFC in Liverpool.
Okay.
Graduated from uni, moved back to Lincolnshire, got a job as a PT, met my now wife. We had a baby, and literally, Willow was born in the July. I went to go and do my first game of the new season in September and realised I can't do this. Like, I can't be spending my entire evening on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening at training and then pretty much 2/3 of the day on Saturday at a rugby match. So I had a conversation with my wife and basically gave up rugby.
Okay.
Was then pretty much just milling about in the gym for like 6 to 8 months while my wife Natalie was on maternity leave. Piled on a shed load of weight. I was still training, but I wasn't really training with purpose. Like, I think I bought. Do you know who Ross Dickerson is?
Yes. Trains out the
No.
Physique Warehouse.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much an influencer bodybuilder. Like, I bought his
Yeah,
bulking
sure.
plan, ended up just getting really fat, and then tried to do the diet side of it, and was just like, I didn't really see the results that I kind of wanted. And I think it got to that December, I was up at like 80 plus kilos, and I just went, right, enough's enough. I need a goal. Like, I'm very goal driven. So when I didn't have that thing that I was training towards, it was really hard for me to stick to a plan.
Accountable.
So I decided I'd been following a guy on social media. He was competing in bodybuilding. I think he was assisted. But around that time is when I discovered like AJ Morris and all the like natural bodybuilders that it was. So what was this, 2018, 2019? So it's like as the social media and YouTube and sort of that sort of stuff, that new crop of natural bodybuilders that were coming through and were putting out that content. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I'd always followed bodybuilding, but I never wanted to go down the assisted side. I didn't even know there was a natural drug tested way to do it. So hired a coach. He was a bodybuilding coach in his early 20s, basically lived and breathed it,
Was he
tried to kind of like
assisted
follow
or was
along
he
that
natural
plan.
or?
He wasn't himself, but he coached natural. Well, he claimed
Okay.
to have coached naturals.
And was this someone you
Um,
knew from the gym or?
so it's somebody I knew from rugby. So when I played
Okay.
rugby back in Lincoln,
Okay.
he'd not gone to uni and gone straight into PT and then had done all right as a bodybuilder.
Okay.
Um, So basically, he ran my first prep. It was awful. Like, we ran a recomp, then I was built like a building phase for like 3 months, and then it was
Right.
like a 14-week diet as my first
Okay.
ever diet. Um,
Didn't get
got
conditioned.
down to probably 68 kilos, which is probably near stage weight. But looking back on those pictures, I wasn't in condition. I didn't have enough muscle.
No.
So
No.
even though I was around what my stage weight should be, like I wasn't anywhere near where I needed to be.
No. Yeah.
Think, well, I finished outside the top five. Like
Okay.
I'm fairly sure I finished dead
And what
last
show
because
was
like
this? This was an
this was at the
assisted show,
UK
right?
DFBA
Oh no. No,
Heart
it
of
wasn't.
England
Okay.
show.
Okay. And what year is
Um,
this?
it had been 20. I want to say 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, because it
And
was before
so how
COVID.
long would how long have you actually been training by this point? You said you was training for rugby. Sorry, I'm just gonna dive back a little bit. So you're saying
That's
you
okay.
was training for rugby. How many years were of you in the gym by this point before doing like your first season?
So I've lifted weights since I was 13. So I'm
Right.
now 34. So
20 years.
I say I lifted weights. I lifted dumbbells. I bought like some cheap Argos dumbbells at like 13 years old. I was just lifting in my bedroom. I properly started weight training when I was 16 when I went to college because they had a proper gym and like my tutor at college was a strength and conditioning coach. Okay. So I properly started weight training at 16. And then I probably did my first bodybuilding season at 25, 26. So I've been training for about 10 years, but not bodybuilding training.
During
it was
that
more
time when you was rugby training, did you follow a set plan? Did you have structure, or was it just like just get in there and do things? Like, how did that look before?
So I actually followed a program called what was it called? It was called West Side for Skinny Bastards. So it was like a powerlifting hybrid. Yeah, so it's West Side. It was taken from West Side Barbell, but it was a guy called Joe DeFranco who worked with like a lot of NFL and NBA players.
Okay.
And he altered it to be more for like invasion sports. So you had like your heavy lifting days, so your max. I can't remember what it's called. Like your max intensity days, so you'd be working up to like a 3-rep max or a 5-rep max on a bench, a squat, or a deadlift, and then you'd have your like almost like higher volume days where it's more the explosive power style stuff.
Right.
So I was strong. Like
So
I could do.
I can't even say the word. Sport specific.
Yes.
Kinda. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. So that's how you got into it. Why don't you tell everyone about your most recent competitive season, you know, and the journey a little bit from the first one to the most recent and where you're at with that and what you see the future of being as well.
So, first season was 2019, I want to say. I've competed every other year since then. So, I had a year off, got a new coach, because 2020 was that COVID? 2020.
Yeah, 2019, 2020, yeah.
Didn't compete when it was COVID, but I was training from a home gym, the majority of that. Competed in 2021, went back to the UK DFBAs, and I think I placed like 4th. I don't think I did 2 shows that season. I can't remember who the other show was with. Then took another year out, went back, again, UK DFBAs, and then I placed at their regional show and went through to nationals, competed with the WNBF, placed at their regional shows and went to nationals, and then also competed with the WNBF that year. So me and Pat actually competed together at the Supernaturals in the lightweight category.
That was my first ever show, so by the way.
That not against each other.
Yeah,
so no, we was against each other in the same class.
Oh, it was against each other.
It was in the same class. Pat took the win, and I took second. We both got an invite to Worlds that year, but neither of us could really go.
No.
Then again, took another year out, and then that takes us to 2025. So for me, the big thing in this, because I couldn't go to Worlds, there was that little voice in the back of my head that was always like, what if you've missed your only chance? What if you've missed the only time you're ever going to get an invite and you couldn't go for personal reasons? So my whole focus in prep was the Supernaturals and to place there to kind of get that invite.
Yeah, sure.
So I went and did a warm-up show with the NPA at the end of August, just to kind of, because you guys will know, when you've been off stage for a little while, the worst thing is when you're stepping in and you're nervous.
Yeah.
And that cortisol rises. So just wanted to have like a warm-up show. Like I didn't even peak for it. Just walked on. But the NPA being a smaller federation, I think on the day there was 2 guys that should have been in my class.
Right.
Because there was 3 originally, 1 didn't show up. So they invited 2 of the Masters guys that were in the right weight category to come and do the Open. So there was 4 guys in my class, but I was competing against 1 guy that was about my age who wasn't really in shape, and then 2 older guys that were peeled, but again, when you're in like masters and grandmasters, I think they were 50 plus. Like your legs start to go.
Always.
So
Yeah.
even though I wasn't in the best condition I could be, like I was just big. Even for a lightweight competitor, like the muscularity and stuff, and I was very close to stage condition, because 2 weeks later, when we peaked me properly, I won my class at the Supernaturals, which is the UK title for lightweight. Got the invite to Worlds. Did a couple more shows. So I did a show with the UK DFBA, where I placed fifth, and then the MBW, where I didn't place. I think there was like 15 guys in my class at the MBW though, and it was my first ever like international level show. So the MBW.
That was a very good show, to be fair. Because I watched the stream, and it was a very, very good show. I enjoyed that.
I think the MBW is going to force the rest of the feds in the UK to level up.
To level up, yeah.
The production value, like backstage, just little things, like they had like screens backstage so you could actually see the live stream. So as you guys will know, when you're at shows, you're constantly asking who's on stage, when do I need to go back, like when do I need to have my calves, when do I need to start pumping up. Whereas because you could actually physically see it, you were like, right, that's the class that's in front of mine. There's only 6 guys on there, so there's probably only going to be half an hour. Or if you know, right, the class in front of mine, there's fucking 20 guys. I've got a little bit more time, because by the time they've all done, they're still doing their rounds, they've still got all their individual routines and stuff to do.
The MBW is absolutely outstanding. I was there for the majority of it. Having even like TV screens that you can see what's going on, you know, in the audience. They had trailers in between, you know, the classes. They had actually a live stream where you had people commentating. It was absolutely outstanding, and I think that has, where it is an international show, you know, that has the ability to pull the best athletes in the world into it without needing certain things. Like as long as you're a pro and it's from a worthy federation, then you can compete, right? So that takes the entry requirements to be able to just basically get the best people there, which I think is what everyone wants. Because for a long time, obviously you guys will know this way more better than me. You've been in the game, but you know the only issue is there has been like some of the best in like 3 or 4 different federations that, you know, dilutes it a little bit. We want to know who the fucking best is, right? And if you can get them on one show, you're going to find out. So but yeah, sorry, carry on, mate.
That's okay. So yeah, after the MBWs, I can't remember the dates. I think it was early October MBWs.
Yeah.
There was then a decent amount of time between that and then the Worlds. I think it was 6 weeks. So another 6 weeks of like digging, and like the feedback that I got from the Supernaturals and the MBWs was like more condition, better posing. And if you get feedback and it's like, right, you need to be bigger, there's not really a lot you can do about that, like between shows, but more condition and better posing is something that's
the best thing you can get. The best. If they're like, it's there, but you're just not in condition, and this needs to be sharper in these shots, you can fix that in, you know, 3, 4, 5, and certainly 6 weeks. So that's the best thing to hear for sure.
So then, obviously, jumped on a plane to the US. It's the first time I've actually competed internationally.
So cool.
And that 11-hour flight was no joke. Like, trying to waterload on an 11-hour flight,
horrible, mate.
Like, I think I was up and down to the toilet every, like, 30 minutes.
Did you have an aisle seat?
Luckily, I had an aisle seat on the way there. On the way back, I didn't. So... Oh, yeah. Well, I think if I hadn't had an aisle seat, I'd have probably asked to swap, because I'd have just been like, look, mate, I'm drinking 4 litres of water. Like, I'm going to be going to the toilet every half an hour, unless you want to be getting up as well. Like,
just say you got a bladder issue and you're going to be up every 30 minutes. Yeah. The easiest way.
So, yeah, went to Worlds, had 0 expectations about placings or anything like that. Literally, well, as you guys will know, like with competing, when you do well, you then move up to that next category. So with like natural bodybuilding, for the listeners, like you've got like regional level shows, then national level shows, then international level shows, then pro. Normally what happens is you do well at one level, you step up to the next level, and your ego instantly gets shot back down. So it's like, nope, this level's to this game. Yeah. So I was just expecting to go out there. If I got a top 5 finish, I'd have been absolutely ecstatic. Like, I just wanted to go out there, have a good time, CLA, see where I stacked, and then see what I needed to do in my off season in order to improve. But obviously, the work that I'd managed to do in those 6 weeks in between, like Mike and I'm guessing you know who Chris Palin is.
His condition was fucking crazy. Sorry about swearing, by the way, but
that's all right.
Are we allowed to swear? We are, right?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His condition was insane, like literally insane.
So because I'd competed against Chris Palin at the UK DFBAs, like that was what I was always comparing myself to. Like every time I was on that Stairmaster and I wanted to quit after like 20 minutes, it was like, would Chris quit? No, he fucking wouldn't. Like, get on with it. Like, just do it. Like, dig in, suffer. Like, and basically brought the best condition
ever achieved. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 100%. Like, my glutes were like inside out. Like, there wasn't
a stage weight at this point. Or was it 78? You said
60.
Okay.
Like depleted. I was down about 65.
Yeah.
Once I'd properly carved up, I was like 67.5 to 68, depending on like how much water and stuff I had in my system. But my weight cap, so I was competing as a bantamweight, my weight cap was under 68. So when I landed in the US, I was sat at 68.2, so I was panicking that I wouldn't be able to get the water out. So basically I had to almost deplete and then refeed again. And then when I weighed in on the morning of, I think I was 65, like bang on. No, 66. Yeah. So I could have...
in the morning? And then you could...
It was the day before.
Day. The day before, yeah. I mean, that gives you...
Yeah, so it was
a bit of flexibility.
The Friday, yeah. So I could throw some carbs in, get some water in, and then, ended up winning the bantamweight class, which meant I got my pro card. So my original plan was to compete on the Saturday, have the Sunday, watch the pro show, see a bit of LA, but ended up then going and signing up and doing the pro show then on the Sunday. So I finished 5th. I think there was 11 in my class in the pro show.
Yeah, I believe so.
So was happy with that. But being against the pros kind of highlighted to me, like, when I've kind of looked back at those pictures, from the rear, from the back down, I was probably up there in the top 3 easily. But I just don't have that thickness and that density in my upper body. So because I naturally have really good hamstrings and glutes because of rugby.
Sure.
I don't really have to train them that much and they just grow. Whereas there's some gaps in like my upper body. So now it's just a case of... So my split at the moment's like 4 days upper and 1 day lower. So it's like every teenage bodybuilder's dream, like just training up 4 days a week. But
every day's arm day.
Weak spots.
Yeah, I mean it's a nicer problem to have, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's nicer than the other way around, where you've got to leg day. I've got a love-hate relationship with leg day, like, because it's always a double-edged sword. Because you get really strong, but you also know, right, if I'm doing 200, 220, 240 kilos on this hack squat, it's going to suck. Like,
the anxiety
it doesn't feel pleasant.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, anyone can train arms or hit a bit of chest, but, you know, week in, week out, or every few days, like, the anxiety of getting under a hack squat in a leg press, you know, it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're actually taking it to that level, you know. It's the anxiety of, I don't want to fucking be a bitch. I know I've got to do it, and I know how hard it's going to be to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and especially once you're later into your career, because you do you get strong. Like, if you are training well, if you're eating well, you're building muscle, you're putting progressive overload in there, as long as you're doing all those things, you will get strong. But it's about being patient with it. The people that try and rush it are the ones that injure themselves and don't end up strong. But if you're doing it progressively, like I think when I started on the hack squat, I was starting at like 1 plate a side. By the time I finished running that up, I was on like 4.5, sometimes 5 plates a side. And that's again as a natural. Like it's just being patient with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good topic to talk about, to be fair. Like I think people don't realise, you know, I think people try and rush the progressions in weight-wise. Like if you're jumping up, like, don't get me wrong, on bigger movements like a hack squat and stuff, you have more movement to actually make big jumps, right? Because it is a full body movement. Obviously, you're predominantly probably trying to train your quads if you've got your feet low or whatever. But you know, if you're jumping up 5-10 kilo every week, you're doing something wrong, mate. Like you are not making that much progress. But if you're you know, getting a rep each week and then a 2.5 and so on, you know, and you do that for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you do the maths on where you're going to be, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. I
think we can all universally agree that the worst part about getting very strong with training, especially with legs, is having to load up the freaking machines. It's just like
on prep, like loading up the leg press. For me at the end for one set, and then unloading it. I was like, what?
Unloading it, yeah. It's not fun at all. Horrible, mate.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think for a lot of younger guys, they don't use their logbook properly because they're always chasing that number. They want to see number go up, but they forget there's more than one way to see progression. So even if you've hit the same weight and the same number of reps, but the tempo's better, you've been able to keep it more under control, you've done a little pause or things like that. There's lots and lots of different ways that you can increase the internal tension.
Absolutely.
But I think they just become so obsessed with number go up, and they also probably aren't keeping a good tabs on their form. So they're actually, even though the number's gone up, the amount of tension they're actually getting in the muscle is less because they're now performing the exercise, the skill of the exercise worse.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to understand that. Right, sorry, I just got to get this light to turn back on.
That's right. Yeah, I actually did a post on it recently talking about how, you know, your logbook means nothing if your rep speed changes every week, you know, and if your form, you know, changes every week, like your range of motion is changing every week, your tempo's changing every week, if your exercise order is changing every week, like, then it's not giving you like a true reflection. You know, if you do 12 reps instead of 10, but they were like significantly faster, you know, like you don't know if that is better or not, like, because it's not the same thing. It's like, it's not the same measurement, you know.
Yeah. It's like trying to compare apples and oranges.
No, keep on.
Exactly
that. Sorry about that, guys.
They turn the lights off.
So that is insight of your competitive. What is next then? Tell us what's next.
So I'll take 2026 out as an off season. Weights kind of back up. I'm back up to about 72-ish kilos. So I had a chat with my coach recently, and basically we're probably going to max out my body weight at 75, 76. Okay. So I'll basically ping pong between like... Pardon?
Who is your coach?
It's a guy called Jake Brayley.
Okay.
So I've worked with him for, well, since that second season, so 5-6 years. But what I really like about Jake is he understands that I'm a dad, and he understands that I work full time. So I can't live and breathe this sport, especially in the off season, because I've got a family, like I've got a job. Like,
yeah, of course, it has to be tailored.
My wife,
right?
Yeah, my wife understands that for like, so from July through to November, I was pretty locked in. But like the 18 months outside of that 6 months, I need to be able to be present with them, to be able to go to take my daughter like out for ice cream and not feel guilty about it and kind of stuff like that. So I'm probably a little bit more relaxed than the average bodybuilder, like in my off season, but I still get the work done. I think the number one thing is the training and bringing that intensity to your training, making sure the skeleton of your diet is still single ingredient whole foods. So it's that 80-20 rule. So it's exactly what I teach like my Gen Pop clients is like, if you're eating single ingredient whole foods 80% of the time, you can have fun with the 20% and you can still make decent progress. It's when that 20% becomes 50% that then you're kind of getting a problem. So yeah, this off season's just get stronger, fill in those details. So like, I'll be competing as a lightweight, which 9 times out of 10 as a pro is under 70. So I've still got a couple of kilos that I can kind of grow into this category, but it's not like I'm needing to put on pounds and pounds of muscle. It's more just about refining the look. Like, I'm quite lucky with my structure. For a lightweight, I'm quite tall, so I'm 5'7", but I look a lot heavier than I am. So at 65, 66 kilos, people would put my body weight looking at my physique at like the mid 70s. So I tend to come in like quite big compared to a lot of like lightweight. So it's just about keeping those proportions and then just probably just filling out my back and a little bit more size in my chest.
Okay. Excited to see you do it. I think the point of what you just made a minute ago is a good one to touch on. I feel like you guys might disagree with me, but I feel like the industry, at one point, everyone like, there was a mindset where you had to be like a bodybuilding monk to be successful, and I think more people are actually feeling confident to be like, well, I'm not like that, and you still do really, really well. Like I think the Chris Bumstead vibe has like allowed people to open up a little bit more and be like, listen, we tick the box really damn good, don't get me wrong, but like bodybuilding is not everything. Like, it's a massive part of my life. 100%. I wouldn't be the same without it, but listen, I'm still gonna live a life, and you know, if you can't learn to do that in the off season and, you know, manage it effectively, then for me, I wouldn't do it because it would make me miserable. And I suppose there is some people out there that literally live for bodybuilding, but you know, most of the people that I actually know that are pretty damn good are pretty normal people, and they've just learned how to do exactly what you just said. So I think that's a interesting point for anyone who is listening who wants to be a competitive, successful competitive bodybuilder. Don't get me wrong, you got to tick the bloody box, but like, if someone tells you can only eat rice instead of potato or something like that, or you can't swap it for a fucking sandwich one day, even though the macros eat the same, like it's not that deep, you know, it is not that deep.
Yeah.
So it generally isn't. I think I did a post. I posted something similar about on my story the other day about how the industry has become so like everyone's trying to fit into this category of like, oh, you have to be this to be accepted, rather than trying to be a bit more relaxed and kind of be themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's become very, very generic where everyone's trying to be a type rather than just being who they are. And it's kind of a shame, really, just because of social media. But
I don't know if you guys, but I'll see other bodybuilders, like you said, they're in their off season. It's like everything's regimented, but I also have to remind myself that social media is the highlight reel. Like social media is they're putting out that persona because that is what people think you need to be as a bodybuilder. Like,
and I think I completely agree, but I also think in my experience it can go the other way. Like, for example, and I think you guys might experience this, and when you become so obsessed with something, sometimes it actually hurts. Like, don't get me wrong, bodybuilding is all about obsession and doing things well, but like, for example, like there's been times where I've been so focused on my sleep, like I'm telling you, I'm not missing a fucking beat. Like, the blue light glasses go on, like the downtime routine, the darkness, you know, getting away from screens, the supplements, and I'm laying in bed anxious that I haven't fallen asleep yet, so I'm not going to get my 8 perfect hours. And then literally last night is a perfect example of this. I got home late after meeting a friend. It was like 10 o'clock. I'm usually in bed by now, probably asleep to be honest. And I hadn't eaten more meals. I still had a meal to go in. It was only yogurt and berries. I know that's going to digest quite easy. You know, a lot of yogurt is actually water. Berries, you know, no, it's not a heavy meal, but eating that right before bed, probably not the best idea. You know, that is going to bring up your heart rate a little bit and stuff like that. Literally, I was like, I ate the meal, went to bed, woke up, and it was the best Whoop score I've had in fucking, like, weeks. Yeah, when you're so anal over it, sometimes the score ends up being shit. So it's like, sometimes like, I still do these things, right? I still wear my blue light glasses, I still take my supplements, I still will wind down. But like, if you try to become so obsessive, sometimes it's actually a worse result. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be
I
raising
totally
the
agree.
cortisol around
Yeah.
it,
Right.
and we all know the effects of like chronic cortisol. So one of the big things that we're all taught is you need to fucking chill out. You need to
Yeah.
focus on your recovery. If your
Yeah.
cortisol's raised, you're not recovering from shit. So
No, no,
it's
Yeah,
sometimes some of
100%.
those things like whatever you need to do to unwind. And I think also it's a good idea to take a step away from bodybuilding every now and again. Like, I don't know about you guys, but
definitely.
I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos,
Yeah.
I work in a gym, I train in
Yeah.
my free time. Like, everything is kind of like related to this. Like, sometimes I have to step back and go, you know what, I need just a bit of mental bandwidth, even if it's just walking the dog and I don't have my headphones in,
100%.
so that I can have some time to actually just let my
Yeah,
thoughts like wander when I'm outside. I find that is so beneficial because I'm so right. What's the next task? What am I doing with business? What have I got to do at work? Where are the kids? Blah blah blah. But sometimes just having half an hour, 40 minutes where there's just to be is
Yeah.
probably one of the best things that you can do, like mental health wise, but also towards your bodybuilding, because you're allowing that brain to switch off, so that then when you actually have an on, you're not on all the time. If you are on all the time, you can't bring that intensity through a session because you're burned out. Whereas if you can
Mental
actually learn to
bandwidth
switch
ain't there,
off,
yeah. 100%. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges in prep, right? Like, because
Yeah.
you're always on, like, it's literally food focused. It's when's my next meal? When's am I doing my steps? How am I going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. That, like, for me, that was one of the challenging things where it's just like your mental bandwidth is like you're already depleted. Like, you're inside the gym twice a day, like sometimes 3 times if you're working, maybe even 4 times. And you just don't fucking escape it. It's like, all right, now
Yeah.
check in, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, even then, like being able to escape it for a bit, it's like, gives you some peace, right?
like
Yeah,
I don't know how
100%.
Pat you managed to do so many
Yeah, that's
competitions like back to back, because like
It's
I
because
was
I'll tell you exactly why. It's because I don't coach or
okay.
work in a gym, so
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have to
you
deal
can
with it.
escape
Like,
it.
I just get to the gym, do what I need to do, get home, and then the rest of the day I'm switched off. Like, do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? I just like I take my boxes. Don't get me wrong, like I do
yeah,
not miss a beat when I'm on prep. But I think one thing I established very early in my career is like just knowing to have the right balance with it with bodybuilding. Like you have to make it like if you make it your whole life, you're gonna hate it.
yeah,
And I just try to
Yeah.
enjoy it and
yeah.
like yeah,
And I
treat it
think
as part of life really.
that is such a good point that I make to a lot of people is if you want to be a good natural bodybuilder, you look at the people that are usually doing good, it's who can do it pretty good for the longest period of time. It's not who can do it
Yeah,
perfect for a short period of time. And I see
yeah,
loads of people
100%.
with unreal potential tick every fucking box for 3 years and then they end up stopping because they fucking hate it.
Yeah,
Whereas if you just were pretty good and were 90% or even 95% for 15 years, you're going to be fucking damn good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
very true. Very true.
I think that's one angle in looking at it.
Oh, and well, that's pretty much like my journey. Like
Exactly.
I've been going at this for like 6 years and just ticking those boxes, but also having that balance. And
Yeah.
like my physique, it's not one that like pops on social media. So like there's a couple of guys that you'll see them, they're like they seem to come out of nowhere and they're in like their first or second season and there's all this hype kind of around them because they've just got that amazing genetic potential. But then you've got other guys that are literally like year after year, they keep showing up, they keep putting the work in and they keep improving, and eventually if you do that for long enough, like
Yeah, for sure.
obviously there's a genetic element in there. Like if somebody's got really poor genetics, they're probably never going to turn pro. But I don't know if you noticed this, Pat, but at Worlds, most of the guys that I spoke to were at that world level, especially the pros.
Yeah.
They'd been bodybuilding for 5, 6, 10 years plus.
Yes.
There was
Yeah, I
pros there
noticed
that
that.
what's his name? Stuart. He's been competing for 24 years. He's doing back-to-back seasons because this year 2026 is going to be the 25th year he's competed. So
Wow.
it's just one of those things where that's one of the reasons why I love natural bodybuilding is there's such a longevity element to it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many assisted guys do you see like they get up to being pro? Firstly, it takes them to like 35, nearly 40 to be pro to build that amount of muscle. They have 5-6 years, maybe 10 if they're really lucky as a pro.
Yeah, and
and then they're done.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got natural guys that turn pro when they're like 30, 35, and they're still competing in their 50s and 60s because, again, as long as you're not competing back-to-back seasons and trying to hold at 3% body fat, everything we do, especially in the off-season, is regarding health because a healthy body is going to grow more muscle. Like, it's as simple as that. If you're healthy, you're going to perform better as an athlete. So we tend to see the careers like stretching out.
100%. And I think that's why, like, of course, you're always going to get people with amazing genetics, and you're also just going to get great athletes, especially now, like with how much information's out there. Like these teens and juniors are the best juniors there's ever been. Like, there's no doubt about that. They're fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's because they've got the perfect information, you know, at a young age, and they're applying themselves. So, you know, by the time they get to their 30s, if they keep it up, it's going to be fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the juniors and teens and seen that, like,
so I don't have to compete against them.
Impressive, man.
You two would be masters. I'll just be cooked probably.
We've got to be cooks, mate.
Yeah, that's crazy to think, but no, I think you're right, and I think the thing that I also like about natural bodybuilding is it is actually a lifelong lifestyle. Like with assisted bodybuilding, I'm all for assisted bodybuilding. I've got nothing wrong with it, but it is a heavy transition. It's like all in, and then you have to, like, really, if you want to look after your health, you need to step away, you know, and then try and probably lose weight because, you know, being hugely heavily muscled, you know, at an older age as well, you know, is not going to be the most healthy thing. Just having so much body weight in general. Whereas in natural bodybuilding, it's very unlikely you're going to get so musculature that it's almost bad for you. Do you know what I mean? Like there's almost like ceilings on how much progress you're going to make each month each year to get to it, right? Like none of us are ever going to be too muscled that it hurts our.
I wish, mate. I dream of those days, mate. Wake up one day with like 20 kg of tissue, like.
It's like those guys that are like, I don't want to get too big. And we're like, I've genuinely been trying to get too big for the past 10 years. If you could tell me how to do it by accident, like, I would absolutely love that, please.
I want to cook some new food, but I don't want to become a professional chef.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Okay. Should we maybe cover one more topic and then wrap up or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's finish with something controversial then. Okay, just to get us talking. We're going to do about 10 more minutes here. What is something that you think that most natural bodybuilders get wrong? Or let me reword that. What is something that you like to do that hasn't got hype around it? Or vice versa, there's something that's got a lot of hype around it, but you're not actually a fan of? I'll give you a little bit of time to think. This goes out to both of you. Steve.
Yeah.
So this could be maybe an exercise. This could be maybe a peaking protocol, or whatever you guys are thinking.
I think cream of rice as a carb source is overrated.
Okay.
100%.
And tell the audience why. You're going to have a lot of fucking haters now.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people clicking off. Tell us why.
Yeah.
So when I've used it, what I've ended up doing is like just trying to volumize it like so much because was trying to use it kind of like during prep. So it's very, very good in a building phase when you've got those like empty calories that you basically just need to get in. Whereas I find actually oats are going to do a very similar thing, but they've got a lot more fiber in them.
Yeah.
and I find for myself that they digest a little bit slower. So I end up
It just
dropping,
lasts
well, and
longer.
during prep, I ended up dropping them out like quite early and replacing them with oats just because I feel
Yeah.
fuller kind of like on them.
100%.
And then there
100%.
hasn't really come back in because I'm not really pushing food that hard.
Nice. Nice.
I still have it. I like the taste.
Yeah.
Perform sent me a massive 2 kilo tub of, I think it's cherry bakewell cream of rice. I've still not opened it
I,
yet.
I had that and I gave it away. I got, in the gift boxes.
Yes, I did the same
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
What were they called? I can't remember what they called it, but it was like just before Black
Mystery box.
Friday,
Mystery
and it
box.
was like the mystery box. I was like, "There's £100 mystery. Yes, I'm going to spend £100 on Perform. I'll buy a tub of protein. Lasts what fucking ages. Like there's no sell by date on it. So if I have to bulk buy protein to get this mystery
Exactly.
box, and then
100%.
to be honest, I'd never tried their pump or their pre, and they sent it, and I actually quite like it. So
Yeah. I think
yeah.
Perform's a goat, man, especially when it comes to protein. There's nothing that matches it, in my opinion. It's fucking unbelievable.
I don't think there's anything that matches it for the price.
Okay.
It's that
Yeah.
mid-range price, tastes
Okay.
really good, mixes really well. So like some of the Trained by JP like wheys
Okay.
are really nice, but they're expensive. So I think I refuse to pay more than £45 for a 2 kilo tub of whey because I use so much of it. So having one that's that mid-range price, that's really nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, talking about weight, there's the prices. Remember when like my protein came out and there was like you could get like a kilo of
Like 10 years
protein for
ago,
like a tenner,
mad,
and now
yeah.
it's like literally almost £60, but like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous now.
Mate, I was
What
buying whey
happened there?
protein before they added VAT onto it. They did
There's
that in
actually such crazy prices
2009, I
now.
think it was, or 2010. You used to be able to pick up a 2 kilo tub of whey for about 20 quid.
Mad.
Oh mate, that's mad.
It's
That's
actually
mad.
quite cheap to make, I think, for a lot of these companies. And I think
It's
they make
very
a big
cheap.
markup.
Yeah.
But
Well, one of my clients actually works for the Arla factory,
oh shit,
and
and
that
they
produces
send, yeah,
80%, I think, of the whey in this country.
yeah,
And it basically gets shipped out to these different sites that put their packaging and their marketing and whatever other stuff in it, and then it's just different markups because
yeah,
the baseline product costs the same to all of them.
yeah,
Mate, you managed
yeah.
to give me the contact
It's
of this
pretty
guy,
wild.
mate, because I need to buy protein from him directly.
He's got a new business model there. Right,
Yeah.
Patrick, let's finish with you, mate. What's your thing?
I think, right, so I had a conversation with one of my followers the other day. They posted a video about how um you don't need to like for accessories, you don't need to train for a PB. And I'm not talking about PB as such, or like I'm gonna do like 150 kilos on leg extension, for example. And I think what people tend to forget is like accessories are just as important as like compound movements, and people seem to underestimate them because they are very, very beneficial, in my opinion.
Isolation, sorry, I can't hear
Yeah,
you very well.
isolation. So
Isolation, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
was
think a lot
it?
of people understand.
So
Sorry, go
was
on.
it your followers said you didn't need to?
No, no. So this is what he did. He posted a video talking about like a reel, talking about how um you don't need to do go for a PB with your isolation. Just go and do like basically like do a pump work with isolation. And I
Right.
said,
Okay.
no, I disagree with that. I think you should put same amount of intensity with your isolation movements as you would for your compound movements because they're essentially they're just as important. And we had a big old conversation about it, debate about it. In the end, he understood where I'm coming from and he kind of like bought it. But it was just like I think a lot of people kind of had that mindset, and I kind of didn't want that information going out there for especially because he's got a lot of like younger generation coming up that follows him. So I didn't want them to kind of see that and be like, oh yeah, that's what we're gonna do because this is out there, but it's
yeah.
clearly not
I think
the right
I think
information.
from my opinion, where the confusion comes in is, anything you do, if you want it to be productive, it needs to be in close proximity to failure because that's the only thing that's
100%,
actually going to drive the stimulus for you to adapt. If it's not hard, your body doesn't need to change.
100%.
However,
Yeah,
what they probably mean is you can go lighter so your form stays better, so you actually isolate that muscle. Like if you're doing a leg extension that ends up looking like a fucking hip extension
Yeah.
because you're using
Yeah.
so much weight, then that's not productive. Like you want to go as heavy as you
Yeah.
can whilst maintaining that form that you actually isolate that muscle, right? But if you're just doing
Yeah.
it as pump work and you're not providing, that intensity,
No
then your body has
intensity,
no
then
reason to
it's kind of
change.
pointless. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was trying to say to him that, like, well, regardless, like, if I'm training with my aim is to do this acceleration movement with technique and like better tempo every session, then in more or less you're chasing the PB in that session because you're going in with a better intention of training with better form and better tempo. So even if you get the same reps by the same weight, but with improved tempo, then it is a PB.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
our argument was about.
I think progressive overload is very important. Whether it's, I think what he was probably saying as well is maybe there's guys that are doing like bicep curls and they're doing like a max PB for a set of like 3 to 5 on a bicep curl,
Yeah,
which probably isn't going to do a lot because it's a small muscle
right.
group. Now you could get a PB weight of 15 to 20, which is going to be lighter because the reps are higher. But now you've
Yeah,
got, if you can now progressively overload in that rep range, that higher rep range, that's still going to be a PB for that rep range, which means you're still going to be increasing the load. But I don't know about you guys, if you've ever run like reps ranges of 15 to 20, like the rate at which that weight goes up is going to be much slower because
hmm
to have the mental capacity to keep rep number 1 and rep number 20 looking around the same, even if
Yeah.
you only add on 2, 3, 4 kilos, like it feels like a big jump when you've got that many reps kind of going through it. So it
Yeah.
sounds like your friend was trying to say one thing, but how he put it across
Yes,
could be
yeah,
interpreted
it
in
was definitely delivered wrong.
multiple different
Yeah,
ways, and it was just. And this is one of the things that I like about natural bodybuilding is that there's no ego. Like we all are willing to learn from each other, but we're also open-minded enough to realize that actually I've said this thing, it's been interpreted a different way to the way that I intended. Let's have a discussion
yeah.
about it. Like, you didn't go in and, like, just start tearing your friend a new one and be like, you're
No, no, no,
talking
no.
shit, blah, blah, blah. Which you can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
in a lot of other sports when people are just, like, wanting to rage bait people.
yeah.
Whereas I've never met another athlete which I couldn't, if I didn't understand something, if I dropped into their DMs and again, as long as I wasn't coming across as aggressive when I was saying it, that they wouldn't be willing to have a discussion with me. To
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to achieve kind of the same thing. You get it all the time with the high intensity versus high volume argument, and what I've learned is some muscles respond better to higher intensity, low volume. Some muscles respond better to higher volume and slightly lower intensity. Like, but it's person dependent. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
one size fits all model for every single person.
No,
And I think
100%.
uh, a good one to finish on is it isn't black and white. Like there isn't yeses and nos as well. Like although we might have strong opinions on stuff, there's people that build amazing bodies with methods that I can't understand as being productive as what I would personally do.
Yeah.
But if they've got a fucking crazy physique and they've built a lot of muscle, then it clearly still works. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
I
it may
agree.
not be the most efficient way, but if I look at Jay Cutler's training, I wouldn't do that or recommend it. But who the fuck am I to tell him that? It all
Yeah,
works.
exactly.
But,
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have logic in X and Y equals Z. That's my mindset around things. Everything I do, there's some kind of logic to makes me feel like comfort, if that makes sense. Like I expect this outcome because that makes sense. Whereas some of this other stuff doesn't make sense in my mind, so I just wouldn't do it. It doesn't mean this necessarily doesn't work. There's
Yeah.
so much movement with it. I think really,
Yeah, 100% agree.
I agree.
yeah. I think one last thing I want to quickly touch on, I know you've got to go as well, which you was talking about the rep ranges, which I think is really important. I think so many people get fixed on rep ranges as well, and hypertrophy is really like forgiving. As long as you take a set close to failure, you know, it's going to stimulate a muscle. And the rep ranges, you said like 15 to 20, a lot of people might not program that, but, you know, I actually sometimes prefer going, especially for newer clients, unless they're super advanced, slightly higher reps, because
Yeah.
you have people doing like recommending 6 reps, and it's not something I typically do for people, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but I see if I recommend 6 reps to a client, what happens is they overshoot it and get 4 reps, and the last 2 reps were shit because they've gone too heavy, so they've got 1 or 2 productive reps. You can't tell me that is ideal. I'd much rather give them a 10 to 12 and they get 8 reps and 2 of them reps are a bit shit, and guess what, you've hit 6 reps. Does that make sense? Whereas
Yeah.
if you were
And also with newer clients, it gives them more time to practice and to
100%,
learn that skill. Like,
100%,
I think a lot of people forget that like exercising and movement in general is a skill. And it takes practice and it takes repetitions. Like,
yeah,
if I take somebody who's completely new to the gym, I find there's something around the 300 rep mark tends to be where they start to get that skill acquisition, having not done it at all, to then being able to like do it and perform it fairly well, where we can then start loading that. So
Yeah.
when I'm working with a client, especially when they're new, I'll do 3 full body workouts.
yeah,
It's 3
perfect.
sets of 8 to 12, so they're going to average 10. It's going to
Yeah,
take about 10 sessions, but if you're doing 3 full body workouts, they then have got those 10 sessions in over 3 weeks. So they make so much more progress than some of these guys that jump straight onto a body part split. They're only doing that movement pattern once a week, so it's going to take them 10 weeks to hit that
Yeah.
300 rep mark to get that competence there. By that time, I've normally taken a client through 3 different iterations of a program, and they are actually going to be at a point where they can just pick up a program and they can perform those exercises well now.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a quick just to add on. I know we're gonna finish quite soon, but I wanted to add it to what you just said, just because I think it might be very, very important. Obviously, my background is from gymnastics and cheerleading prior to bodybuilding, and there was a study that was carried out for us to kind of master a skill. You have to do it 777 times to master a skill. So this is all comes into play when it comes to bodybuilding, which is something I've implemented in my training that a lot of people don't realize that it's made a huge, huge difference. They think just go to the gym, do a movement couple of times and then yeah they master it, but no, you have to the repetition matters to become good at that skill, then to then progress from it.
yeah. And that's absolutely spot on. And one last thing to finish on that is, you know, that's why anything, you know, 6 rep range is great, but if you're not performing those 6 reps good, then you might be able to benefit from more. And
Yeah,
that's what I like. If I give you guys 6 reps, then I know you're going to perform 6 reps with good tempo, with that muscle isolated, and then it's productive. But
mhm.
if you give someone like a 6 rep range, and like I said, they follow the pattern where they've only done 1 or 2 productive reps there, you might not even be in the hypertrophy rep range. That might actually be strength training now, you know, which as a newbie, you're going to probably build muscle anyway and might be overcomplicating it. But that I personally, as my thing on what we was talking about, I actually like some kind of medium to high rep ranges. Like I think anything from 6 to 15 is really, really good most of the time for what I like to program. And for the smaller muscle groups, like I tend to like to go on the higher end, to be honest, because I just think you're going to get better quality workload in it. You know, even if you start to recruit some sloppy reps from people that are intermediates, you know, you still would have actually got some productive reps rather than just having, you know, less productive reps from a lower rep set.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, I think that was productive. Hopefully, we've given some value on that, and hopefully, everyone's got a good background on your Deej. And on the next one, we'll be diving into Patrick, but everyone might need to get their popcorn out because
Get some
there's
popcorn,
going to
get
be so
some
much to fucking talk about. So, yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in and coming to watch the first few episodes. And hopefully soon we'll actually know the name of the podcast and we can introduce and end it properly. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys got anything to finish the podcast with?
No, just want to say
um,
thanks to everyone for tuning in and listening to us waffle on for coming up to 55 minutes. So,
Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you,
yeah.
boys. I will see you next week.
see you later.
Take care, boys. think that was quite good. Very.